Have you ever wondered what the original game plan for Amazon actually looked like? I mean, before it became the behemoth we know today, it was just an idea written down in a series of now legendary letters to shareholders. Today, we're going to deconstruct those letters piece by piece to really get inside the philosophy that built one of the most powerful companies on Earth. So let's dive in. We have to rewind the clock all the way back to 1997. You got to remember, the internet was still this new, kind of weird thing for most people. And Amazon.com, it was basically just an online bookstore with a really big and frankly unproven idea about what shopping could be. And this is the year Jeff Bezos sends out his very first letter to his shareholders. And right there, in that very first letter, he drops the concept that would define the company for the next quarter century. Day one. It's such a simple but incredibly powerful idea. It means you always operate like it's your first day on the job, with that same energy, that same urgency, that same sense of infinite possibility. It's a mindset of never-ending beginnings. Now, to make this day one thing actually work, Bezos knew he had a huge task ahead of him. He had to completely rewire how his investors thought about the business. He needed them to forget about the short term and commit to playing the long game. This simple phrase right there in the 1997 letter wasn't just a suggestion. It became the company's central mantra. It was basically a declaration of independence from Wall Street's obsession with quarterly earnings. Every single decision from here on out would be measured against a much, much longer timeline. So what did that actually mean in practice? Well, Bezos laid out a set of principles that were, honestly, a rebellion against how business was usually done. He told shareholders flat out, "We will chase market leadership, not short-term profits. We're going to make bold, risky bets. We care more about real cash flow than fancy accounting. And, maybe most importantly, we're only going to hire people who think like they own the place." And when you put it side by side, the contrast is just stark. While almost every other company was dancing to the tune of quarterly reports and Wall Street analysts, Amazon was writing its own music. This was all about building a fortress for the future, even if it looked a little strange to outsiders in the present. But, this whole long-term thing can't just float in a vacuum. It has to be anchored to something solid. And for Amazon, that anchor was another, even more powerful idea: a complete, total, all-consuming obsession with the customer. This quote from the 1998 letter it's incredible. Bezos' whole point was that you shouldn't be looking over your shoulder at your competitors. You should be looking straight at your customers. Why? Because they're the ones with the power. They have the money, they give you their trust, and they can take it all away in a heartbeat if someone else comes along and treats them better. And this wasn't just some motivational slogan on a poster. You could feel it in the product itself. Right from the get-go, Amazon was doing things a physical store could only dream of: a nearly infinite selection, being open 24/7, and rolling out crazy innovations like one-click shopping. They knew deep down that the single most powerful marketing tool on the planet was a happy customer telling their friends. So, did all this focus on the customer pay off? Oh, yeah. The numbers from that first year are just staggering. Sales shot up by over 800%. The number of customers grew by over 700%. This wasn't just a feel-good theory. It was a strategy that was producing absolutely explosive results. But then, the music stopped. The dot-com bubble, which had fizzled all this incredible optimism, didn't just leak, it burst. And suddenly, Amazon's entire radical philosophy was facing its single greatest test. In his 2000 letter to shareholders, Bezos started with just one word: ouch. It was brutally honest, and it perfectly captured the world of pain that everyone invested in the company was feeling at that moment. Because this is what they were seeing: an 80% drop in the company's stock price in 1 year. By any conventional measure, the company looked like a total disaster. But this is where Bezos asked them to look past the headline number. He pulls out this legendary quote from investor Benjamin Graham. And the argument he's making is simple. Right now, the stock market is a voting machine. It's running on emotion, on fear, on panic. But, he argued, if you wait, it will eventually become a weighing machine, and it will measure the true fundamental weight and value of the actual business. And this slide right here is the whole story. This is the crucial point. While the stock price was getting absolutely hammered, the actual company, the thing being weighed, was getting stronger every single day. They added 6 million customers. Sales grew 68%. Gross profit more than doubled. And customer satisfaction, it hit the highest score ever recorded for any company. The business was thriving. So making it through that crisis didn't just prove the philosophy was sound, it gave them the confidence to pour gasoline on it. Now the focus shifted to building a self-reinforcing engine for growth, a concept they famously sketched out on a napkin. And this became known as the Amazon flywheel. It's a beautiful, elegant loop. It starts with lowering your own costs. That lets you lower prices for customers. Lower prices create a better customer experience, which drives more traffic to the website. More traffic attracts more third-party sellers, which massively increases selection. And what does greater selection do? It creates an even better customer experience, which drives more traffic. And the whole wheel just starts to spin faster and faster on its own. And as Bezos wrote in 2001, this wasn't some happy accident. It was a deliberate, repeatable machine they had built. He was basically telling shareholders, get used to this. This is our playbook. We're just going to keep running this loop over and over again. And to measure just how fast that flywheel was spinning, they picked a new financial North Star. Not earnings, not profit margins, but something called free cash flow per share. The question became, how much actual spendable cash is this business generating for each and every one of its owners? Growing that number over the long term became the ultimate goal. Okay, so you've got this incredible growth engine. But how do you make the right calls to keep it fueled and spinning in the right direction? Well, it came down to this really smart framework that balanced two powerful forces: cold, hard data and something a lot trickier, human judgment. Bezos explained that some decisions are easy. They're math-based. The spreadsheet tells you where to build your next warehouse. But the most important decisions, the ones that really change the game, are judgment-based. For instance, the math will almost always tell you to raise prices to make more money today. But their judgment told them that constantly lowering prices would build a much more valuable company in 10 years. And this all circles back to that core idea of ownership. As he put it so perfectly in 2003, tenants are just passing through. They make short-term, easy decisions. But owners are invested. They make the tough, long-term investments because they're building something to last. The entire Amazon philosophy was designed to create a culture of owners. And that leaves us with a final thought, a question that really gets to the heart of this entire blueprint. If you were forced to choose between what the math proves is right for you today and what your gut, your conviction, your judgment tells you will win big in 10 years, which one would you pick? That choice right there is the essence of day one.